Go ahead, Guy.
So,
You were here during this particular time. Tell us about it.
so this is Sahuarita Gunnery Range. It's between April '56 to June '57. I was stationed here to fly radio planes.
Where are you from, Guy?
And I'm from, at that time, Rochester, New York.
Rochester, New York.
No, I was
At
from
this time, you were from Smithport, Pennsylvania.
Smithport, Pennsylvania
Okay.
at the time.
And this is at the time of the draft. And people enlisting and so forth.
All right. Wow.
And these were the cotton fields with the cotton picker working in the cotton fields.
And this was close to the gunnery range.
This was very close to the gunnery range because this is where we lost a couple of radio planes at.
Amongst those fields. Now, that's a beautiful picture of the valley.
Of the valley,
Yeah, looking west. Yes.
Westwise.
And it's beautiful because I can determine where the camp was,
Right.
where some of the buildings were that existed during my particular time.
And this is the entrance to the gunnery range and the barracks
Okay.
where we lived at the time.
I've talked to a couple of my friends and they don't remember the barracks.
And our chef had dogs, and
He was allowed to bring them on post
right,
on the base.
he had them on the base, and the dogs had puppies and
Oh.
that at the time.
And your cook, mess hall operator, lived on
He lived in Sahuarita.
in Sahuarita.
He was a civilian.
Okay.
He wasn't connected to it.
And he was allowed to keep the dogs there? Or did he take them home every night?
We kept the dogs there.
Okay.
We did a lot of things. It really wasn't a strict military base
I see.
wise.
Okay.
We're out in the desert for a year. Nobody else is around.
And during this particular time, did you ever see Porter Wilson or a teacher bringing students onto the
Never,
gunnery range that year?
never,
Okay.
never. And this here's the mess hall. And guy caught a hawk at this time. And of course, some of the guys had cars
Uh-huh.
back then, and they could bring them on base.
In 1957, I lived right there on the Sahuarita property. You had off of the Sahuarita Road, and I just don't recall that many cars coming, that many good-looking cars coming onto the farm. Neat.
And at the time I built a desk for my area in the barracks, a nightstand, and we slept on cots. We had our foot lockers.
How many men were stationed there on a, let's say, particular time frame?
I only remember about 7 of us living at the barracks.
I see. Okay.
Was. This is a prop from one of the radio planes.
This is guys sitting on them.
All right. I can't tell what that is, but as I look at the picture, we're looking towards the Indian reservation to the northwest side.
And
Wow.
this is a communication center would come out and set up just north of us at times. I don't know what they did. They had nothing to do with our radio planes,
Uh-huh.
but they did come out to the base.
This picture was taken looking west.
Yes.
I do recall there being a couple of big trees in that area just before you turn into the gunnery range off of what is now Santa Rita Road.
The military base that I was stationed at was for was for training B-57 gunners to train them on shooting from their turrets. And we would fly the radio planes in towards them to shoot down. And of course, we always try to maneuver the planes so they couldn't hit them. But they did hit a lot of them. When they hit the plane the right way, the parachute would come out and lower the plane back down to the desert. If the parachute didn't come out, they landed in the cotton fields behind us to the west. And we would have to go out and retrieve them from the cotton fields. My job was repairing the radio planes, putting them back together, or putting the new ones together, or taking the ones that have been shot, tear them apart, put new pieces on, get them in operational order again, so we could recycle the radio planes as much as possible. I have no idea how much they cost, but they had about a 12-foot wingspan on the planes. They would come in crates. We had a lot of crates. Each crate had a radio plane in it. We'd have to go out and take the planes out of the crates, take them back into the shop, and start putting them together with the wings and the tails and the parachutes and all. We transported the planes around most of the time with the Jeep. The radio planes had a four-cylinder engine on them, which the cutaway shows you the engines itself. I do not remember repairing an engine. Once it got damaged, that was it. But the part we repaired was the main body of the radio planes. These radio planes are all set up on carts, ready to be launched at a later date. But we would always have about 10 or 15 of them ready to fly all the time. To get the radio planes to fly, we had battery systems in them, radio system in them, and parachutes. The parachute had a pilot chute to pull out. This is me standing alongside radio planes, and I think...
You're the one on the right?
No.
Or left.
You are on the left.
But here the guys are getting the radio planes ready to take to the launch pad. That's the parachute they're packing in the radio planes. We had some place where we folded the parachutes up in the right order to the packing, but once we got out here, we just jammed them into the plane. Now this is our launch pad. We had a control guy here at this circle, tower-wise, who controlled the plane as it went around the pad. We started him with a Kickstarter to start the planes before he could take control. And once we had it running, we would let it loose, and it would go around in a circle, about four or five times. And then eventually, when the guy thought he had the plane at the right speed, he would release it from the cart. And this is showing us starting planes again. Now, we didn't have a lot of safety rules. We were awful close to that prop all the time, but that's the way it was back then. I don't think you would have been allowed to stand between the wing and the prop nowadays. But here he's releasing it. The chalk is out. It's going around. It's being released from the cart now to fly on its own. And this was to the south of our observation tower, our gunnery tower. We would launch it here. He would get it up in the air to where the guy at the observation tower could see, and then he could take over control of the plane at that point and bring it over to the observation tower now. Now, this sergeant flew it most of the time. He had the privilege. But he would fly the planes out, bring them in, maneuver the planes around so the gunners couldn't hit them, and take them back out again. We did play with the planes a lot. We used to take them straight up in the air as far as we could see and hear it, and then put it in a dive and have it come back down to the earth and then pull out of the dive again before it hit the earth. But this is the guy that did most of the flying of the radio planes. We had 4 B-47 turrets sitting on the ground. That was taken from damaged B-47, I don't know. But he would fly the planes around, the gunners would try to shoot it down. And if he did hit one, most generally the pilot chute came out, and then the parachute would come out. But this is just showing the plane flying right now, which is, we'll wait to see what the next pictures do.
Was it a soft landing when the parachute was connected to him like that?
Were they what?
Was it a soft landing or just hit really hard?
Sometimes they're hard.
Okay.
No, it was soft most of the time.
All right.
But there's the 4 turrets. This one here jammed up, and they had to repair it. So there was a mechanical crew would come out with the pilots. They would be transported from the Davis-Monthan base in a bus to come out for the day. So these the guys repairing them. Here's a plane that came down by parachute, but you see it landed kind of hard. It is bent. The plane separated, the wings came off, the engine came off, and that one probably didn't come down with the parachute.
How rough was the terrain out there for you guys to be able to go out there and pick up the plane out of the desert?
And the desert was flat. There was nothing but cactus.
Okay.
There was no gullies, no stones out there. Here's the pilot chute coming out of the plane. You it's the white part, the tail end. It pulls out the main parachute to retrieve the plane back down to the ground. And you see it's landing just fine. There's the parachute up there at the top. That's the way they're supposed to be all the time. And of course, it takes a lot of muscle to get the parachute to collapse afterwards.
I can't believe how green the terrain is. How far out from the tower could these planes fly with and still being able to hit them with the guns?
As far as we could hear.
Okay. That's quite a
Because we
distance.
flew the planes by sound only, so we had to keep track of where it was at. We knew that we could go out so far until we lose the sound of the plane, and then we would turn it around and have it come back in. We lost a lot of props. And that's it, looking at the Sahuaritas to the east.
Correct.
You can see the hole that the radio plane dug, the wings up there by the guy standing. And we would name the planes after our girlfriends at that time. We'd have certain ones, and we could see how many times we could fly it before we couldn't repair it anymore. And this was my girlfriend at the time from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we treated them all by Jeep to bring them back into the repair shops. Now we're in the repair shop, and you see the parachute out.
How long were they? How long was the body of the
They were about 16 feet.
16 feet?
You see this one here got a nose drive,
Yeah.
and got the nose bent up.
There you are in good shape, Barbara.
Put it
Yeah.
all back together.
Yeah, she's back together again
Okay.
for another trip. We did salvage a lot of planes to
All right.
refly them again. Now here's one that landed in the cotton field.
This had to be in the early part of the year, late March, April.
Yeah, because the pecans are out.
Yep.
This is our junk pile. The fuselage is here, airplane wings in the back. There was stuff that we could not salvage to use again.
Okay, so most of the, when anyone finds metal out in that particular region, it's probably from one of these drones versus an airplane.
Right.
Okay.
Now, this airplane here, if you look at the carriage, underneath it is us experimenting, putting wheels on the planes to launch it off of the airstrip out there. We did a lot of playing around, but we'd take the plane out to the airstrip that was to the east of the repair shop, and we'd experiment with it. We did discover we wasn't compensating for the torque of the engine a lot of the times. Going down the runway, it would go part way down and it would veer off to the left into the desert. But we had to take our starter cart out to the airstrip to start them. And here's the guys letting the plane loose now to head down the airstrip. And I don't see the plane here, but I think the next picture is going to show the dust storm to the east side of the airstrip. That's where the plane ended up at. We did not get it off the ground.
Oh, wow.
He ended up in the desert. And that's when we really discovered we had a torque problem of keeping the airplane to go straight to get it up in the air. And that poor plane has a nosedive. We had to repair it again. We still kept the carriage. But I think we tried 3 or 4 different times before we got one of them to take off. We did get one of them up in the air. This guy here is starting that airplane by turning the prop, which is dangerous, but
They were young and foolish.
Are you in this picture, Guy?
I don't know.
No?
Well, everybody's in T-shirts. We all look alike.
All right.
You couldn't tell the rank of any of us
Okay.
at the time. Well, here you see the plane went off to the right-hand side again, the left-hand side again of the runway. So it didn't get off the ground.
So was that carriage, I would call it a carriage, was that later modified to, so it wouldn't be able,
Yeah, we made it, we modified it. I forget how the guy maneuvered the front wheel to turn. But somehow he had control of the front wheel to a certain extent to try to keep it on the turret. Now this is a lieutenant put his kid in the parachute compartment of the plane. No, we didn't. We didn't launch it. Yeah, you see the carriage is still there.
So how heavy was the plane? The,
2 of us could pick it up,
okay, very good.
you know.
Less than 200 pounds then, huh?
Yeah. The heavy part was the engine area. I will give you another story about this particular plane. We launched it one time and flew it up to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base for the Air Force Day. And we had that Jeep all set up with the radio on it to control it going up the Nogales Highway. up to the base.
Wow.
I don't think we had a lot of power lines around us at the time, but it was all the way up to Nogales Highway.
It's quite an accomplishment. All the way from Sahuarita for a
Yeah.
good 20 miles, 15 miles, flying that.
And have enough,
Gasoline in the engine.
yeah, we did. Yeah, it had a gasoline tank on it.
Did you ever have any explosion with the gasoline? No?
Never
Once it hit
had
the ground?
Never had a fire
Okay.
that I know of.
Okay. Not during
That's
your
the-
time.
Not during my time. I think this one here is showing the plane going down the runway. There it is, taking off. They did get up in the air.
So how many radio operators were you having operate this plane at one time?
Well, only one guy had control of the plane.
Okay.
It was it was just the one sergeant. Now this is the day that we're having a going away party. This is when I was three or four of us was being transferred out of Davis-Monthan, and two of us ended up in Germany. But we wasn't on radio planes in Germany. I was on a Matador missile at that time. It was on a trailer launcher. But but this was the gathering of all of us to get together before we left twice.
Did you have a car during that particular time?
I never had a car, no.
No. How'd you get to Tucson when you wanted to go to Tucson?
One of those guys,
Would accommodate
well,
you?
right. I didn't put the pictures in there. We did go to a swimming pool down at Old Amano
Okay.
at the Cow Palace.
Yep. Cow Palace.
And we also went up to Lake Plasta one time,
All right.
which the guys drove.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not put those pictures in here.
So you do have some pictures of the old swimming pool there at Arawaca Road?
Right.
It'd be nice to see them. I would not part of this part, but
So this is taking the flag down at nighttime, which is the ceremony every day that had to be done, but at the end of the day we would
guy on the left.
lower the flag and fold the flag up. This is where a civilian got stuck out by the
By the property, yeah?
cotton fields. We went out and towed him out,
Okay.
which you're not supposed to do with the government vehicle. And this is looking to the west at the sunset. And that's the last one.